but I like the comfort of things, mainly books. So I'm going to give you 7 ways that I am adding a sense of hygge to my home this winter. Books and blankets. Books and blankets. There we go, that's it. That's the recipe for hygge in your home. And I've always said that if anybody came in who didn't know me and looked at my bookshelves, they'd think I was absolutely bonkers. I think I am to a certain extent, but it's not because of the books that I read. Or maybe it is. If you can manage it, you should definitely have a dog hiding in the cushions. In between Christmas and New Year, I put a post up on my YouTube channel asking what you would like to see in January. And one of the common threads throughout the answers that I got was that I want to know how to keep my home cozy even after Christmas. I want that too, so I'm going to give you 7 ways that I am adding a sense of hygge to my home this winter. Let's start with lighting, both candlelight and fairy light. Another item that I haven't put away after Christmas is this little house that looks like it's along the canal or the river in Copenhagen. It's Christmassy, but it doesn't have Santa on the roof or anything. So I think it's fine. And also this pale blue could easily go into spring. So I think this can be part of this candlelit area as much as any of the others. These candle saucers are perfect, and I buy lots of them from IKEA. And that will go in there, just to add a bit more light. I'm going to put this enamelware candle holder onto a cake stand and pop it in there. There we are, that can go in there like that. And then I'll just light the tea lights here. There we go. It's certainly looking a lot cozier in here. Not Christmassy, but with the coziness of Christmas, which I think is so important for January. I've got this little tree here. Now, I'm not going to put it too close to the candles for obvious reasons, but I'm going to put it back there. It's not really a Christmas tree as it's not decorated, but it suits the space. I'm just going to finish this tray off with some pine cones, like these here from Christmas. Not too many, just a few, just to keep the outside inside. Let's now move on to comfort. Comfort comes for me in the form of blankets and different textiles and textures that you have in your home. I'm going to take you through a couple of examples that I use on the 2 sofas that I spend time on during the winter evenings. There's nothing like feather-filled cushions on a sofa, but they do need bashing regularly. And over the years, they will definitely need refilling. I love them. They're a pain because they squish, but I love them. I have this quilt throw on the seats of this sofa just to add a little bit of extra coziness, to add some colour, some pink in here, as otherwise this room can tend to get quite orangey. And there's a tiny bit of pink in the curtains. So I cling on to that with all my might, and I pull that pink out of those curtains using little pops of pink throughout the rest of the room. Blankets. If there's one thing I have a lot of, it's blankets. I even have lots of blankets down at the deli for the seats outside on the terrace so that people can sit outside whatever the weather. I have these wool blankets. Again, this is in pink to pull out some of the pink in the curtains, and I put them on the back of the sofa or on the arm of the sofa so that if you happen to fall asleep on the sofa, there is a blanket very close by that you can just pull over you. If you can manage it, you should definitely have a dog hiding in the cushions. Feather-filled cushions. To this sofa, I'm adding a woolen blanket in a sort of tartan check. I was inspired to do this by an old Susie Watson catalogue that I've had for about 6 or 7 years. And this is a sort of Susie Watson style blanket. I bought one of hers again about 6 or 7 years ago. And when I moved into here, this cottage had moths and I didn't realise it. And they ate this Susie Watson blanket. I still use it. Where is it? Oh, it's on the back of the winged chair that I have over in the book nook in the entrance hall. But the holes are quite big, so they hang over the back. So I've not got rid of it entirely because I just couldn't bear to do that. But this is a Susie Watson style blanket, and that will go on this seat. I love pink and green, especially dusky pink and then a soft green. So that's why I've got the pink cushions on here. And again, it pulls out the tiny, tiny bit of pink that is in these curtains. Hello. So there's only one more thing that I want to add to this space here. I'll give you a clue, but I want you to try and guess what it is. So it's this hamper is in the middle of 2 sofas. So if the TV isn't on and I'm not asleep, what would I be doing if I was relaxing in here? Yes, I'd be reading. So I'm going to add my hygge books. Sometimes I think just having books that inspire you around you is lovely. It's almost like the books permeate your being as you're sat there. I'm surrounded by books constantly. I rarely throw books out. I give them away, but then I tend to sort of buy them again. And I've always said that if anybody came in who didn't know me and looked at my bookshelves, they'd think I was absolutely bonkers. I think I am to a certain extent, but it's not because of the books that I read. Or maybe it is. It's just that I have this deep interest in so many areas of life. People, gardening, food, history, psychology, I don't know what. But if I find a topic that interests me, I buy loads of books on that topic. And fiction, of course, fiction. I'm surrounded by lifestyle, food, the lives of others, and wonderful stories. So let's go through some of my favourite hygge-inducing, if that's even a phrase, hygge-inducing books. Perfect for this time of year. It's after Christmas, but we still want to stay cosy. Okay, we're starting with Wintering, of course, because this is the first book in our January book club. So this is Wintering by Catherine May. We'll do another roundup on this. I think we'll do it next week. So if you haven't got your copy and started to read it, do that now. The second book is an amazing book called The Year of Living Danishly. It's by Helen Russell, and she spends a year in Denmark, and of course that's the home of hygge. It is brilliantly funny and it takes you through a Danish winter. She is fantastic. She tells you exactly how the Danes do winter, and I absolutely loved it. Definitely highly recommend The Year of Living Danishly. It's very, very cozy and just funny, and also the tagline, oh, they're all dropping off. The tagline is discovering the secrets of the world's happiest country, which is never a bad thing. It's brilliant. My third recommendation for hygge-inspired or hygge-inspiring books is my book, The Little Book of Peace, 101 Ways to Find Peace in Your Work, Life, Home and Dreams. I get lots of comments from people saying, your videos are very calming, or there's a sense of peace in your videos. That's because I seek peace in all aspects of my life. I don't always find it, but I am on a search for peace. I would prefer to have peace than happiness every single time. And this just takes you through, it's 101 chapters, 101 ways for you to find peace in all areas of your life. They're very, very simple. There's nothing radical in here. It's just a reminder of what can bring deep peace into your life and how you can find it, how you can navigate your way through various situations in your life, whether that be through thoughts that you have about certain situations or actual physical situations that present themselves. This book was born out of a time of deep trouble, stress, some trauma, and I wrote this as an act of catharsis. I wrote it when my children were young, and I refer back to this all the time. The next one is one that I got for Christmas, and I love it. It's wonderful. I have not finished it, but I already know that you are going to love it. It's called The Garden Against Time, In Search of a Common Paradise by Olivia Laing, and it is brilliant. It's about the creation of a garden, and it's the way that she writes it. I can't say much more about this. You just have to read this. It is wonderful. Her garden is in Kent, the Garden of England. She's not without trouble in her life, but she finds the creation of this garden a real sense or a source of great solace in her life. Did you know gardeners live longer than a lot of other people because they're already planning for next year? So they're just assuming that they're going to live for another year. It's that mindset that I absolutely love. And I think it's that mindset that contributes to their longevity. Okay, 2 more hygge books. This one, English Cottage Interiors. I bought this on Amazon used. It's by Hugh Lander and Peter Router, English Cottage Interiors. It's brilliant. It's got cottages. They're really old cottages. Surrey, West Sussex, Suffolk, Durham. It's absolutely wonderful. I love this so much. These are the original English country cottages. And although lots of them are quite dark and may look quite oppressive in the pictures, there are little snatches of inspiration that you'll get from each and every one of these, whether it's the copper pots above the fire or the fire itself, or the way the table is laid so sort of casually but so authentically. I love this book, and I have thoroughly enjoyed reading it on the sofa when the candles are lit in the evening. And then this one, Al Pacino, Sonny Boy. He's one of my most favourite actors. And I bought this for my daughter for Christmas. I am itching for her to finish reading it so that I can crack on with it. Scent in your home, especially in the winter months when you might not have the doors and the windows open, is really important. The ways that I add a lovely scent to my home is through food. And obviously it would be certain types of food, and scented candles. I only use scented candles that are good for the environment, so we're not burning nasty oils at any time. And this one here by, I think it's pronounced Airy. This was bought for me for Christmas. This is called herbal tea, and this is a favourite in January. The types of food that I would highly recommend you make are things like bread, cakes, anything with cinnamon, if you like cinnamon. But one of my favourite things to do in these months, certainly in January, is to make Seville orange marmalade. Now, I have a recipe for that. I just posted it again on my TikTok and on my Instagram. The format is portrait, so it's not landscape, so I can't really put it onto YouTube because the aspect isn't right. So do hop on over to either Instagram or TikTok and you can see my recipe for the easiest but the tastiest Seville orange marmalade. You can also make it with blood oranges if you can't get hold of Seville oranges. But that will make your kitchen smell so wonderful, and it makes 6 jars and you will have them for the entire year. I think one of the easiest ways to add a sense of hygge and calm to your home is to, if I say this, I don't want you to get the wrong impression, but it is to get rid of clutter. Now, I'm not a minimalist. I live in a cottage in the English countryside. I like my things. So I am not a minimalist, but I like my things to have been chosen by me for a specific reason. So when Marie Kondo says only have items that spark joy, I understand that. I get it. So I have to be quite clear on what it is that I have around me. But I like the comfort of things. Mainly books and blankets. Books and blankets. There we go. That's it. That's the recipe for hygge in your home. I've got a little saying, especially in January, before we hit any kind of a spring clean. So let me talk to you about the concept of a corner a day. A corner a day keeps the clutter away. Cliched, cheesy, absolutely. But if you've come out of Christmas feeling like you've got more stuff in the house due to sort of presents or anything that's left over, that you've taken the decorations down and it doesn't quite look the way you want it to look, or your home just isn't sitting in a way that you want it to, then just to focus on one corner a day. Do not do more than that, not in January, unless you've got the energy. But I would say to you, use a little bit of reverse psychology on yourself. So if you only allow yourself to do one corner a day, but you find yourself wanting to do like 3 or 4, don't let yourself, I know it's silly, you're more likely, certainly if you have a brain that works like mine, you're more likely to want to do more if you don't get overwhelmed by the task than if you go in all guns blazing, get exhausted by it, and then come in and just start to doom scroll for a bit. But another, come on, Brew, come on. But another aspect of nourishing your way through winter and retaining that real sense of hygge in your home and in your life is definitely what you eat. And something that I have been eating a lot of lately, because I've been poorly for so many weeks, is soup. I am going to mention my cozy soup course because I've been using so many of those recipes over the last few weeks, and I'll leave the link to that below. That's 15 soup recipes, and each recipe is a video of me making it. They are recipes that I've been using because it just runs the gamut of all of the most popular soup recipes. Soup for me is something that is so important because it contains or can contain so many vitamins, so many minerals, so many nutrients, and can fill you up in such a good way, in like a slow release way. If you're making it with huge amounts of vegetables and good fats and herbs and spices and things like sweet potato and chickpeas, which are slow release, soup is an astonishing way to keep your nutrients up. So another way to hygge your home is to make sure that the entranceway or the way you enter the home is working for you. It could be full of books and full of coats and full of boots from your children, and you can walk in and feel like, oh, I'm home. For other people, that number of things could make you feel just completely overwhelmed and that it's too cluttered and that you're walking into a bomb site. So your entryway has to work for you. For me, I want to feel cozy when I come in. I don't like to trip over my children's shoes. I don't like to be greeted with a wall of papers on the kitchen counter. I like to walk in and have the door not hit something. So I like it to be sort of a clean entrance, but at the same time, I want to feel enveloped by my home. I don't necessarily want to walk into a sense of starkness. So that's why in the entrance I have books, I have candles, I have a table, I have a rug, I have a little chaise, I have my book nook, I have a table with lamps on it, but it's quite ordered in its fullness. It's quite ordered in its comfort. It's not shambolic, but more sort of like an ordered coziness. That's my preference. I think hygge has to work for you. I know that some people can be in a very, very clean, minimalistic, pure space, and they will say, this is the ultimate sense of coziness for me. And why should it not be? Whereas I know other people where you could walk in and the space can look like a garden shed that hasn't been touched in 20 years. And they'll sit there really happily in that space. And who am I to say, oh, should I have a tidy up? I'm no one. That's them. That's for them. Find what it is that works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, A, have the courage to change it, but B, in January, just do a corner a day.